Making over $1,000 a day is an incredible feeling. Most of us don't make that much in our day jobs. If you made $1,000 a day and you worked 50 weeks per year, that's a yearly salary of $250 grand, $250,000. Not many jobs pay that well. Thankfully, there's several that you can do on your own without relying on a boss to give you a raise. But instead of blindly recommending things like most people do, today I'm sharing 4 ways that I have personal experience with. And more important than that, I'll also share why I failed at some of these and what you can do differently to succeed. Example number 1. I was building a Panera Bread back in the day because I work in commercial construction for a living. And when I was talking to the manager of that Panera Bread store as she was coming in whenever I was finishing up the job, she was mentioning how much money people charge her to come and do simple stuff. Hang something on the wall, or fix a piece of tile that was broken, or just do some really simple things. We're talking $100, $200 an hour for a couple guys to come over and do the simple work. And I thought, hey, I can do that. Why would I not do that? So I said, let me be your guy. Let me be your commercial Panera handyman. And that's what I did. I didn't feel comfortable charging $150 an hour, but I did charge $79 an hour. And people do on their own charge upwards of $100 or $150 an hour to be a handyman. The point is that you can create an accessory service business that helps people that you already know now. Doing a lot of these kind of accessory services that serve other businesses aren't the kind of like big, flashy, sexy businesses that you might think about first. But whenever you learn about these kinds of needs and these kind of problems that need to be solved, you can be the one to solve them. So talk to people that you know, or talk to people that are working in the business and ask them, what problems do you have? What is it that you wish was different? What is something that if somebody provided you that service, it would save you tons of time and energy? I want to be open with you about this and tell you that this was one of them that I actually failed. I failed because I gave up quickly after realizing that I kind of hated doing this kind of work. I also charged too little money. I also didn't work to grow my business enough and bring in other businesses besides a few Paneras that I was serving, and I didn't delegate the work. But even doing this the way that I did, I could make a few $100s in an afternoon, and so you could definitely make $1,000 a day doing this. The next example brings me back to my childhood. Growing up, I had this guilty pleasure of watching infomercials. I don't know about you. I loved just seeing these people sell these ridiculous things and be fascinated and skeptical at the same time. Ronco selling a countertop rotisserie oven that could cook everything perfectly. Miracle Blade knives that could cut into a hammer and then not get dull and like perfectly slice a tomato. The slap chop that would save you so much time, all these like ridiculous things. Little did I know, later on, I'd become kind of a version of them. And we all have a chance to benefit from online sales through affiliate marketing. That's number 2. The best part is this is almost passive income. In fact, I've made over $35,000 in the last few years doing this, including one day where I made $1,600. Affiliate marketing is the present and future of all marketing. We all develop these parasocial relationships with people that we watch online. We grow to trust them a lot more than some generic ad or commercial we come across, and companies know this. They're hiring people all the time to promote their products. It's a lot better use of their money for them to pay an influencer or a blogger or an author or somebody else to promote something than it is to buy a Super Bowl commercial or do something else that costs millions and millions and millions of dollars. And it's worked on me too, not just for me. If Ali Abdaal or Matt Farah recommends something to me, I'll take that a lot more seriously than other sources, and that's just because I've watched thousands of hours of their content. Specifically, how it works is whenever you're the last person to touch a consumer before they buy something, you get a cut of the sale or you get a flat rate, like you get $30 or $10 or something per sale. In essence, they give you that money because you are responsible for the sale. It's sort of like in basketball, the person that passes the ball to the shooter right before they make that shot, they get the assist. They get that statistic on their whatever record. But you get paid for doing that with this sale. And I don't really watch sports, so correct me if that was a terrible analogy. So how do we do this? Well, typically you have to have a large audience that are seeing your link or your promo code somehow. A blog could work, a YouTube channel, any kind of social media. Podcasters typically get a kickback whenever you buy stuff using their link or their discount code. Basically, anything online that gets you or your code or your link out there works. In my experience, a lot of companies have their own affiliate program, but also a lot of them go through sort of a third-party middleman. So depending on what you want to promote, you'll have to pick probably by brand who exactly you want to promote and look for an affiliate link that way. The easiest, kind of broadest one is probably the Amazon affiliate program, which is basically where you can generate a link that makes you money for anything on Amazon. The best thing about that one in particular is that even if somebody clicks on an Amazon link because you're promoting shovels, because you started a YouTube channel all about digging holes, holy cow, this is the best YouTube channel ever, it will wholly change your life, this is the best shovel. Even if they don't buy that special shovel that you're promoting, you're then responsible for everything they buy on Amazon for a time period after that. So they could go on there and buy underwear and shoelaces, and you get a cut of that sale. The best thing about affiliate marketing is that it's partially passive and there's almost an infinite upside. If your YouTube channel about digging holes goes totally viral, then you might get seen by millions and millions of people, and that little affiliate link that took you 5 minutes to set up might make you tens of thousands of dollars. If you're like me and you grew up in a small town, that whole concept seems crazy to you. So this next one is a little bit more down home. I grew up on a dairy farm and I did the dirtiest of dirty jobs. Oftentimes they were no fun, but sometimes they were actually fun, like getting to drive a tractor or round up the cows that had escaped from their pens. Like things like that were pretty cool. The job I hated the most wasn't even part of my job. It was just a chore at our house of taking care of our landscaping. My hatred for landscaping grew when I was a child, and it continues to this day. I've not let go of that. Thankfully for you, as a potential future business owner, other people hate it too. So you stand to make money off of this hatred. You probably already guessed what it is. It's landscaping services. Literally mowing lawns, cutting trees, doing basic stuff like that. For the first time in my life last week, I paid a man to come to our house, mow our lawn, prune our trees, clip our hedges, and I gave him real money. This bougainvillea outside is my arch nemesis. Always makes me bleed. I hate this thing. He also trimmed that, which is awesome. Thank you. I paid that man $70. But if I'm honest, he probably could have charged more and I'd have been okay with it. Let's say you charge $100 per front yard. You smash out 1 yard per hour for 10 hours and you just made $1,000 in a single day's work. It's hard, it's dirty, it's kind of boring, but it's totally possible. What if your Saturday was side hustle day? You take care of 10 lawns every Saturday. That's $1,000 per week, or an extra $52,000 per year. Not bad for working 1 day a week extra. And most of these kinds of small lawn care businesses that you might deal with always ask for cash or check, which means some people aren't even going to report the income they have on their taxes. And if you did that, that'd be closer to making $75,000 per year before taxes when you're working 1 day per week. But doing that is technically tax evasion, which is a losing long-term strategy, and that's not wise. This last one probably feels way too easy because nowadays everyone has a camera in their pocket. So you'd think that quality photos would be less valuable today. But what I see is something very different than that. For everything from cars to houses to businesses, anything high value still needs quality photos. My father-in-law actually gave my wife and I a camera for Christmas about 5 years ago, and I initially ignored it. I didn't have the time or desire to learn how to use this thing, so forget about it. Not this one. This was one that my great uncle had whenever he traveled the world. Pretty cool. It's an old film camera. But over time, with that digital camera that we were given, I decided, hey, I'll take some pictures with this thing. Could be fun, whatever. And once you start down that rabbit hole of like watching some YouTube videos to try and make your photos a little bit better, you'll really go down that rabbit hole. I watched videos every day trying to learn how to use that camera and take better pictures. The one thing that really made me a lot better was lots of practice, and mostly that's awkward because now you're the guy walking around with a camera everywhere. And this feels a lot different than people doing this because everyone's used to like phone pictures. It's like it's somehow nonchalant, where if someone walks up to your face and they do this, all of a sudden that feels like this high pressure thing that you have to perform for. And everyone around me was really awkward too. I was awkward, but also they would respond and they would be uncomfortable. Until now, it's been years later and everyone's used to me being the guy with the camera. But for a while there, it was awkward. The pictures weren't good, but eventually I did get better. And so how that became a profitable thing was eventually I got decent enough to think, hey, maybe someone could use my photos. So the owner of my company has some real estate properties that he's invested in, and every now and then those come up for rent. They like lease them out to people. And so they were going to lease them out, and they were talking about getting photos done. So I said, hey, just so you know, I've got a decent camera. I like to take pictures. Let me take some pictures for you, just totally for free. All I want to do is practice. And they obliged, so I got my practice. The great thing was, whenever they got the photos back, they were like, wow, these are so great. These are so much better than the ones we were taking, because all we were doing was walking around with our cell phones, taking pictures of the suite like this, and not editing them, not doing anything, and so they looked like cell phone pictures. They were not very good. Mine, even though they were imperfect, amateur photos, they were better than the alternative. And so we continued to work together. Then because I kept practicing with my own boss and his own properties, I actually landed a client that's a real estate agency, and they needed photos taken of their properties that came up for sale. And once you get decent at this, it's a pretty simple process. You find out where the property is, you show up there at sunrise or sunset, you take all the photos of all the different angles in the way that looks best to you. Like, how would you want your property listed? If you had a photo of it, what's the sort of like hero shot? Try and get that one plus a bunch of other ones, deliver them the photos, and you get paid. For me so far, all I've ever made maximum in a single day is $550, but all I would need to do is do 2 or 3 or 4 shoots in a day, and I'd easily make over 1,000. Plus, at one time, I was selling a lens to a guy online because I didn't need the lens anymore, and I just started asking him, what are you doing with this lens? It was like a really wide-angle lens. Turns out he's a real estate photographer professionally. He only works a few days a week, like maximum, and he makes over $1,000 every day he works. He told me that even with only working 2 or 3 days a week, he's on track to take home over $150,000 that year. That's pretty cool, to be your own boss, have no employees, nothing to worry about, and clear over 150K. That's awesome. What I could have done differently to make more money in a single day there was to try and get more clients, because I really didn't go and beat the bushes much to try and find anybody else. I had this one client. I would go and work for them whenever I could and whenever they needed my help, and that was kind of it. And I also never raised my prices, which I definitely could have done. I've also only taken photos for them over the last year and a half or 2 years, so I haven't been doing it for a super long time. And that's the big factor with all these kinds of things. They don't happen overnight. In fact, probably none of them will. For any of these to get really serious, you're gonna have to work really hard and do it for a decent amount of time. We're talking at least months, if not years of solid commitment. And I get it, that might sound like a really long time. It is a long time. But what's the alternative? How else are we gonna make $1,000 in a day? At our day jobs? I'm not making $1,000 a day at my day job. Are you? I mean, I'm not even making half of that much. I don't even make $500 a day at my day job. So the path to doing that the traditional way, to work your way up the ladder, to ask for raises, to change jobs and all that, is probably going to take decades. I mean, it's still a really long time. So I'll bet on your own you can go out and generate $1,000 a day faster than you even can at your day job. And the best thing is with all these, you don't have to quit your job to start them. You can start right now in your spare time, especially if you already have the skills, or at least if you have the interest in learning the skills, you can start today. And the vast majority of these things outside of the affiliate marketing are active, laborious, kind of sweat-inducing ways of making money. But what about passive income? People love passive income. It turns out passive income is a lie. And to learn why that's true, watch this video next. Secret comment word for today is shovel. See you next time. Bye.